There is a particular kind of silence that follows betrayal. Not the comfortable silence of a Sunday morning, but the kind that rings in your ears. You replay conversations. You search for the moment you missed, the signal you ignored, the version of events that would make sense of what happened. And underneath all of that searching is a question that is almost too painful to say aloud. How did I not see it? That question is where this video begins. Not with easy reassurance, and not with a list of warning signs you should have spotted, but with something more honest. An exploration of what trust actually is, why betrayal breaks something deeper than a relationship, and how it is possible to open yourself again without simply handing your vulnerability back to the world and hoping for the best. Because that is the real tension, isn't it? You do not want to become someone who trusts no one. You do not want to live behind walls, scanning every kindness for hidden motives, exhausted by your own vigilance. But you also cannot go back to the person you were before. That version of you trusted in a way that, looking back, feels almost reckless. And so, you are caught between two fears, the fear of being hurt again, and the fear of becoming so guarded that you lose the capacity for genuine connection altogether. Let us start by understanding what betrayal actually does to a person, psychologically speaking. When someone we love deceives us, whether through infidelity, an emotional affair, a broken confidence, or a sustained and deliberate lie, the damage is not simply emotional, it is cognitive. Our understanding of reality is disrupted. We built a picture of the world that included this person as safe, as honest, as someone whose behavior we could predict. Betrayal does not just hurt that relationship. It destabilizes the entire framework through which we understood our own life. This is one reason why the aftermath of betrayal can feel so disorienting, even when the practical circumstances of your life remain unchanged. You may still live in the same home, work the same job, speak to the same people, but something in the architecture of your inner world has collapsed. The ground you were standing on turned out to be less solid than you believed. There is also something that happens in the body. The nervous system, which is designed to protect you, registers betrayal as a genuine threat. And once it has learned that a trusted person can be dangerous, it becomes reluctant to stand down. This is not weakness. It is not paranoia. It is the body doing exactly what it was built to do, trying to prevent the same wound from happening twice. The difficulty is that this protective state, if it persists without any intervention, can begin to color every relationship, every interaction, every moment of potential closeness. The alarm stays on, even when the danger has passed. Understanding this does not make the hypervigilance disappear, but it does change the relationship you have with it. Instead of fighting your own guardedness as though it were a character flaw, you can begin to see it as a response that made sense, and one that you can, over time, gently and deliberately update. Now here is where the question of trust becomes philosophically interesting and practically important. Most of us, before a significant betrayal, operated on what might be called ambient trust. We trusted people not because we had carefully evaluated the evidence, but because trust was simply the default setting. It was the water we swam in. We extended it freely, almost unconsciously, because nothing had yet given us a compelling reason not to. Betrayal shatters that ambient trust, and the instinct, understandably, is to replace it with its opposite, with suspicion, with distance, with a kind of preemptive self-protection. But there is a third option, and it is the one that actually serves you. It is the move from ambient trust to what we might call discerning trust. Discerning trust is not cynicism. It is not the assumption that everyone is hiding something. It is rather the practice of allowing trust to be something that is built gradually, through consistent behavior over time, rather than something that is simply assumed from the outset. It means paying attention not to what people say about themselves, but to what they do, repeatedly, across different circumstances, especially when it costs them something. This is a quieter, more patient form of trust. It does not have the warmth and ease of the ambient kind, but it is more durable. And crucially, it does not require you to abandon your own perception in order to maintain it. One of the most painful legacies of betrayal is the way it can make you doubt your own judgment. You trusted someone who turned out to be untrustworthy, and so you conclude that your instincts cannot be relied upon. But this conclusion, though understandable, is worth examining carefully. Because in many cases, people who have been betrayed did notice things. They felt unease. They had moments of doubt. They asked questions. What often happened was not that their perception failed them, but that they were given explanations that overrode their perception, or that they silenced their own discomfort because the alternative felt too frightening to face. Rebuilding trust after betrayal, then, is not only about learning to trust other people again. It is about learning to trust yourself. It is about restoring the relationship between you and your own inner signals, so that when something feels wrong, you do not immediately look for reasons to dismiss that feeling. This is delicate work. It does not mean treating every flicker of anxiety as a reliable warning. Anxiety, especially after trauma, can misfire. It can see danger where there is none. But there is a difference between anxious noise and genuine perception. And over time, with patience and self-compassion, you can begin to tell them apart. What does this look like in practice? It looks like slowing down. Not withdrawing entirely, but not rushing either. Allowing new relationships, or a repaired relationship, if that is the path you have chosen, to demonstrate their character across time, rather than demanding certainty immediately. It looks like noticing when someone's words and actions align, and when they do not. It looks like being honest about your own needs, and observing how the other person responds to that honesty. Do they make space for it? Do they become defensive? Do they dismiss it? These responses tell you something real. It also looks like being willing to be imperfect in this process. You will sometimes be too guarded. You will sometimes extend trust before it has been fully earned. Because human beings are not machines, and connection requires some degree of risk. The goal is not to eliminate vulnerability. The goal is to become someone who can be vulnerable with greater awareness, who can open the door without leaving it unattended. There is something worth saying about the people who have genuinely wronged you too. Healing after betrayal does not require you to reconcile with the person who hurt you. It does not require forgiveness on any particular timeline, or at all, if that is not where you arrive. What it does require is that you do not allow their choices to permanently define the terms of your life. The betrayal was something that happened to you. It is not the final word on who you are, what you deserve, or what is possible for you. The philosopher in all of us wants a clean answer, a formula for knowing who to trust, a guarantee that if we follow the right steps, we will never be hurt again. But that guarantee does not exist. What does exist is the possibility of becoming someone who is harder to deceive, not because you are closed, but because you are more awake. Someone who has moved through pain and come out the other side with a clearer sense of their own worth, their own perception, and the kind of connection they are genuinely looking for. That is not naivety. That is wisdom earned the hard way. If this video has given you something to think about, consider sharing it with someone who might need it. And if you would like to go deeper into the psychology of relationships and the inner life, Inside the Labyrinth has much more waiting for you. And if this spoke to a part of you that rarely gets heard, stay with that feeling for a moment. You are not broken because you feel deeply. You are only beginning to understand yourself. Subscribe to Inside the Labyrinth for more reflections on the hidden patterns of the human mind.